I thought I married the perfect woman. Loving, kind, loyal, until one message made it all collapse. Hey everyone, we're just beginning this journey, so please consider helping us reach our first 1,000 subscribers. Thank you. Now, let's get back to the story. My name is Ethan. I'm 38 years old, and until just a few months ago, I was convinced I had won the lottery when I married Lily. She wasn't just beautiful, she was radiant. The kind of woman who lit up every room she entered and somehow made me feel like I was the only one she saw. Our life together was seamless, or so I thought. We'd been married for 5 years, lived in a quiet, well-kept neighborhood, white picket fence, two golden retrievers, weekend brunches, even the occasional lazy Sunday in pajamas, drinking coffee and reading side by side in bed and us. We laughed, we kissed, we made love regularly. Nothing felt forced or cold. There were inside jokes, little notes left on the fridge, and spontaneous dinners. We had our fair share of disagreements, every couple does, but nothing that ever left a mark. She always touched my arm when she laughed. She always asked about my day. She was the kind of woman who made plans for our 10th anniversary before we hit our 5th. We'd even started talking about children. She wanted 2, maybe 3. We took long walks every other evening, just the two of us and the dogs. We'd talk about baby names, our future. Our plans are to renovate the guest room into a nursery. I thought we were a team, until one message. That morning started like any other. I got up early and made coffee, and she was still asleep. Her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. Normally, I wouldn't look, but this time the screen lit up with a name I didn't recognize. M. Did he ask about us? 5 words. I stared at them for a long time, and in that instant something shifted, something fundamental. I didn't confront her, not right away. I wanted to understand, to be sure, to know what kind of betrayal I was actually standing in. I started small, checking her messages, her laptop, quietly. She was smart, she used encrypted apps. I couldn't find much, so I hired someone who could. A private investigator named Keller, quiet, efficient, and very good at what he does. 3 weeks later, he gave me a file. Photos, logs, transcripts, a second phone number, a storage locker she rented under a different name, multiple meetups. And M? M wasn't a man. She was a woman, a longtime friend from college, someone Lily had kept in touch with casually, or so she once told me. Turns out they'd been in a romantic relationship for almost a year. But that wasn't the worst part. They had bank transfers between them. Lily had taken money from our joint accounts and funneled it to this woman. For trips, gifts, rent, and I never noticed. That's what enraged me most. When I finally confronted her, I wasn't calm. But I was controlled. You lied to me, not just with your body, with your life. She started crying and tried to say she was confused and that she didn't want to hurt me. I laughed. You didn't want to hurt me? You planned vacations. We were trying for a child. You let me make a nursery for a baby we'd never have, while you were sleeping with someone else and funding their lifestyle with my money. She went quiet. I kept going. I laid out every piece of evidence, every photo, every transaction, the locker key. I watched her fall apart in real time. I wasn't proud of the rage I felt, but I was proud I didn't let it control me. You don't get to cry now, I said. You cried all your tears into someone else's arms. I didn't file for divorce, not yet. Instead, I met with an attorney, not to act, but to prepare. I wanted everything ready before I made a move. I wanted to be smart, not just wounded. I told him everything and handed over the file Keller, the private investigator, had compiled. The attorney read in silence, then looked at me and said, "You're going to need more. You want to make this clean? Keep watching. Build a stronger case." So that's what I did. I kept going. I let Lily think I was processing, that I was giving her space, and that I was still deciding. All while I collected everything, new transfers, new meetings, even photographs from Keller of the two of them on a weekend getaway. One Lily said she'd taken alone. And me? And me? I'm still asking myself, how did I not see it? Was I that naive? Was I so in love with the idea of her that I ignored every red flag? Was I easy to manipulate or just too trusting? Maybe the truth is both, and maybe the real betrayal was me lying to myself for so long. The days after confronting her were the worst. Not because she kept denying anything. No, she'd gone quiet, which was worse. It left space for my thoughts to scream. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I'd lie in bed staring at the ceiling, the ghost of her laugh echoing in my head. I'd picture her with M, in that locker, in hotel rooms, on those vacations I'd helped fund. Every laugh they shared, every secret they kept, dug a deeper hole in my chest. And yet, I still made coffee every morning, walked the dogs, showered, dressed, worked. From the outside, I looked the same. Inside, I was unraveling, but in that unraveling, something new started to grow. Clarity. I began journaling everything, every thought, every lie I remembered, every time I'd ignored my gut when something felt off. I filled 3 notebooks in a month. I started therapy quietly, just 1 session a week, a space to say out loud the things I didn't even realize I believed. I feel stupid, I told the therapist, like I was hypnotized. You weren't stupid, she said. You trusted, and that trust was weaponized against you. That stuck with me, so I lifted weights, harder than ever, ran longer, worked smarter. I stayed busy, not to distract but to rebuild, to not just survive her betrayal but grow beyond it. Some nights I still saw her face in my dreams, and woke up angry that part of me missed her. But most mornings now I woke up knowing this. I wasn't healing for her. I was healing for the version of myself I abandoned, the one who deserved better than a lifetime of secrets. And I wasn't done yet. Keller didn't just give me breadcrumbs, he handed me a map. What he uncovered went far beyond cheating. There were dinner receipts for 2 in cities Lily told me she'd never visited. Photos of her and M at art exhibits she claimed to hate. Plane tickets were bought with gift cards Lily had hidden from our financial records. A safe deposit box in her maiden name. Inside, jewelry I'd never seen before. A handwritten letter from M, dated months before the affair began, that made it clear their relationship had started emotionally long before it ever turned physical. There were emails, too. Private exchanges from an encrypted server Keller managed to breach, conversations that painted me as blind, boring, and dependable. A wallet with legs. The safe option. It was that line that snapped something inside me. I don't know how long I can pretend, M wrote. He doesn't notice anything, Lily replied. He just wants to be loved. I had proof now, not just of infidelity, but of manipulation, fraud, and emotional abuse. My attorney's eyes widened when I handed over the new folder. Okay, he said. Now we move. We filed. Quietly. She was served on a Thursday morning while I was already at work. I didn't tell her in advance. I wanted her caught as off guard as I was the morning I saw that message. She called me 30 minutes later. I didn't pick up. She sent 24 messages. I didn't read them. I had no more interest in her explanations. I didn't need closure. I needed freedom. That night, I sat alone in the guest room, the one that was supposed to become a nursery. I looked around at the stripped walls, the forgotten paint samples, and the half-built crib. She'd burned something sacred, and now I was ready to let it all turn to ash. The court summons went through, and within 2 weeks we had our first hearing scheduled. The divorce was contested. Of course it was. Lily suddenly found her voice again, not to apologize but to plead. Her lawyer argued for mediation. Mine refused. We were going to trial. There was too much at stake and too many lies to be ignored. We weren't just dividing property, we were dividing truth from fiction. At the first session, she walked in like nothing had happened. Clean lines, neutral tones, eyes tired but mouth still rehearsed. She looked at me once. Just once. I didn't return it. My attorney laid it out methodically. Every exhibit, every statement, bank transfers, screenshots, receipts, surveillance. The room was silent as the judge read through the transcript Keller had pulled from the encrypted messaging. When the phrase, "he just wants to be loved," echoed in the courtroom, Lily flinched. I didn't. She tried to spin it. She said she was struggling with her identity, that the affair wasn't about betrayal, but discovery. that the money wasn't stolen, it was shared, that our marriage had cracks long before this. But my lawyer shut it down. Your Honor, the issue isn't her identity. It's deception, fraud, abuse of financial trust, emotional manipulation, the kind of betrayal that breaks more than hearts, it breaks lives. The judge nodded, took notes, set a full trial date. Outside the courtroom, Lily tried to talk to me. I walked past her without a word. She mouthed, "Please," and I kept walking, because forgiveness is something earned, and she hadn't even begun to try. The final trial date came 6 weeks later. By then, I had no emotion left to spare for her. I showed up in a charcoal suit, calm and prepared. Lily looked smaller that day, not in size, in presence, as if the weight of her choices had finally settled on her shoulders. The courtroom was quiet, tense. Our attorneys made final statements. My lawyer summarized the entire timeline, the financial transfers, the false pretenses, and the emotional damage. Lily's lawyer leaned heavily on emotional context, identity exploration, and the complexity of love. But it rang hollow. I was called to the stand. I spoke plainly. I was lied to for over a year, manipulated emotionally and financially. I trusted my wife, and she turned that trust into a currency she spent on someone else. This isn't about revenge. This is about dignity. Lily cried, real tears, but I didn't flinch. When the judge finally spoke, her ruling was firm. I was awarded majority of the shared assets. The home. A portion of the money she had funneled out was to be repaid, over time, through garnished wages. There would be no alimony, no mediation. The gavel dropped like a door slamming shut on a burning room. Afterward, I walked out alone, but free. She followed me into the lobby. "Ethan, please, can we just talk? One real conversation, please." I turned slowly, looked her in the eyes. "There's nothing left for us to talk about, Lily. The person I thought I loved never existed." She stepped forward. "But I raised a hand. "Don't. You had months to tell me the truth. Years, maybe. And you chose secrets. I'm choosing silence." She didn't respond, just stood there. I turned, walked out into the sunlight, and for the first time in years, I felt clean. But even as I walked away, a part of me still reeled. Not from the facts, but from the feeling of being utterly fooled. How easy it had been for her to sell me the fantasy of a perfect marriage. How natural her lies came, wrapped in affection, routine, and soft smiles. The laughter, the long walks, the whispered dreams about children, they hadn't just been real to me. They were sacred, and she used them like stage props. I couldn't believe how completely I had fallen for it. How much I had believed in her version of us. In hindsight, the signs had been there. But when you love someone, truly love them, you explain away inconsistencies. You excuse distance. You trust. And that's what destroyed me the most. The realization that my own heart had betrayed me first. That I'd ignored my instincts because I wanted so badly for the story to be real. Now I know better. I know that love without awareness is a trap. That trust, once broken, takes more than time to repair. It takes reprogramming the way you see the world. So I'm rebuilding. Slowly, cautiously. I've kept to myself even as friends suggest I try dating again. But I'm not ready. Not because I'm bitter, but because I'm honest. Honest enough to say that I still have work to do. On myself, on my heart, on the parts of me that allowed all of this to unfold without resistance. Maybe one day I'll trust again. But today, I trust myself, and that's where it starts.